Brian Wilson, born in 1942 in Inglewood, California, became a defining force in popular music during the 20th century. As one of the founding members of the Beach Boys, his influence extended far beyond his distinctive voice and songwriting talent. He revolutionized the way music was produced and perceived. From a young age, Wilson exhibited an extraordinary ability to understand and recreate complex harmonies, often influenced by the likes of George Gershwin, the Four Freshmen, and producer Phil Spector. Despite enduring a difficult childhood marked by an abusive father, Wilson immersed himself in music, using the piano as his refuge and playground for experimentation with layered vocals and intricate arrangements. In 1961, Wilson formed the Beach Boys with his brothers Dennis and Carl, cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine. Though he had no personal passion for surfing, he channeled Dennis's experiences into creating the band's signature California sound. Their debut single, Surfin', brought local success and led to a Capitol Records deal. Early on, Wilson distinguished himself in the studio, insisting on creative control and bypassing conventional recording norms. By his early 20s, he had already co-written multiple hits like I Get Around and Good Vibrations, solidifying his reputation as a musical innovator. The pressure of touring and recording took its toll. In 1964, overwhelmed by stress and anxiety, Wilson suffered a breakdown and stepped away from live performances to concentrate on studio work. This period gave birth to some of his most ambitious creations, including the critically acclaimed Pet Sounds and the introspective solo track, Caroline, No. Pet Sounds, while not a massive commercial success at the time, would later be recognized as one of the greatest albums ever made. However, Wilson's follow-up project, Smile, proved too overwhelming to complete due to mounting psychological struggles and a chaotic personal life. Between the mid-1960s and early 70s, Wilson's world shifted dramatically. His increased use of marijuana and LSD, introduced by talent agent Loren Schwartz, opened new creative doors while also aggravating his mental health. These psychedelic experiences inspired profound spiritual introspection and songs like California Girls and Please Let Me Wonder. At the same time, they led to growing instability in his personal life and marriage. He relocated to Beverly Hills with his wife and began working obsessively on Pet Sounds, seeking to create music that resonated on a spiritual level. The album was lauded by critics but met with mixed responses from his bandmates and moderate commercial returns, which disheartened him. The 1966-67 Smile sessions collapsed amid worsening mental health, studio tensions, and increasing paranoia. Wilson retreated further into isolation. While the band continued to perform and tour, his involvement diminished. In the late 60s, he spent most of his time alone, producing what fans came to know as the bedroom tapes, experimental recordings created while largely cut off from the outside world. By 1969, the Beach Boys were financially strained, and Wilson's erratic behavior further complicated matters. After helping co-produce Breakaway with his father Murray, Wilson receded from the studio. Around the same time, Murray pressured him into signing away the rights to the Sea of Tunes publishing catalog for a mere $700,000. This decision left Wilson devastated and triggered a spiral of depression and impulsive behavior, including a short-lived attempt to run a health food store. The band signed with Reprise Records later that year, a deal that required Wilson's creative participation. He returned sporadically, contributing a whimsical story, Mount Vernon and Fairway, to the Holland Sessions in 1972. However, he remained largely detached during this period, only occasionally stepping in for recording sessions. Following Murray Wilson's death in 1973, Brian became increasingly reclusive, turning to alcohol and drugs while distancing himself from music and his bandmates. In 1982, after a near-fatal overdose, Wilson's family intervened, placing him under the care of Dr. Eugene Landy. Landy's controversial treatment program combined therapy with strict control over Wilson's life, isolating him even further. Though the regimen helped him regain some physical health, Landy gradually assumed control over Wilson's career, finances, and even personal relationships. Despite Landy's questionable methods, Wilson re-emerged artistically, briefly rejoining the Beach Boys and launching a solo career. His 1988 self-titled solo album marked a return to form, though Landy's overwhelming influence soon attracted legal scrutiny. By 1991, Wilson finally cut ties with Landy after a court-ordered conservatorship took control of his affairs. The separation marked the beginning of a creative resurgence. Free from Landy's grasp, Wilson released a string of solo albums in the following decades, revisited Smile, and began touring with a dedicated support band. In the 2010s, he participated in tribute recordings and even reunited with the Beach Boys for their 50th anniversary. Throughout this time, Wilson's music gained renewed appreciation, and his influence continued to grow among new generations of fans and musicians. In 2015, he released No Peer Pressure, an album intended to showcase duets with longtime collaborators. Despite achieving commercial success, fans criticized the record for straying from Wilson's classic style, and he publicly defended his evolving artistry. The following year, he embarked on the Pet Sounds' 50th anniversary world tour with Al Jardine, billed as his final performances of the legendary album. Though faced with health complications and diminishing stamina, Wilson persisted, driven by his love for performing. In 2021, Wilson released At My Piano, a collection of stripped-down instrumental versions of his songs. That same year, he sold the rights to his musical catalog for $50 million. After his last concert in 2022, he gradually stepped away from public life. Following the passing of his wife Melinda in 2024, Wilson's mental health declined further, and he was diagnosed with dementia. He spent his final years under conservatorship, supported by his children and caregivers. Brian Wilson passed away in June 2025 at the age of 82. Tributes poured in from across the musical world, with artists like Elton John and Bob Dylan recognizing his revolutionary contributions. Wilson's musical approach, defined by deep emotional honesty, sophisticated harmonic language, and groundbreaking production, left a permanent mark on popular music. Wilson's artistry was rooted in a wide range of influences. George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue had a profound effect on him as a child. He absorbed the essence of early rock and roll, doo-wop, and jazz, drawing inspiration from artists like Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, and the Coasters. Yet, it was the Four Freshmen's harmonies that captivated him most. Their intricate vocal arrangements shaped his sense of musical structure and emotion. Another towering influence was Phil Spector. Wilson was mesmerized by Spector's Wall of Sound and sought to replicate and build upon it in his own work. Songs like Be My Baby stunned him into reverence, and he studied Spector's techniques diligently, incorporating layered instrumentation and echo effects into his own productions. Wilson's songwriting featured lush harmonies, unexpected chord progressions, and introspective lyrics. He favored themes of innocence, longing, and emotional vulnerability. His melodies often moved stepwise, supported by unusual key changes and chromatic shifts, creating a sound that was at once familiar and hauntingly original. In the studio, Wilson worked closely with the Wrecking Crew, a group of elite session musicians. He recorded at Western Studio in Hollywood, where he demanded precision and creativity from his players. His approach to production was unorthodox but deeply effective. He avoided cymbals, preferred unique combinations of instruments, and was a pioneer in tape splicing and overdubbing techniques, methods that culminated in the masterpiece Good Vibrations. His voice, heavily influenced by the Four Freshmen and Rosemary Clooney, began as a clear tenor but declined over time due to drug use and health issues. Still, his vocal arrangements retained their expressive power. Throughout his life, Wilson battled serious mental health conditions, including schizoaffective and bipolar disorders. His hallucinations and psychological struggles, exacerbated by psychedelic drugs, affected him deeply but also fueled his creative fire. Wilson's personal life was filled with challenges. He suffered hearing loss in one ear from a young age, endured a strained marriage with Marilyn Rovell, and later found stability with Melinda Ledbetter, whom he married and partnered with both personally and professionally. They adopted 5 children together. Spiritually, Wilson was curious and explored various belief systems, though he never aligned with any particular religion. His public persona often baffled interviewers, who found him both elusive and unpredictable. Between 1962 and 1979, Brian Wilson co-wrote or produced an impressive number of hit records, revolutionizing the way popular music was made. Pet Sounds and Good Vibrations exemplified his groundbreaking use of the studio as an instrument. His work profoundly influenced generations of musicians, from the Beatles and Burt Bacharach to indie and punk artists like the Ramones and even Lana Del Rey. Wilson's legacy stands as a testament to how deeply personal vision, combined with artistic courage, can reshape an entire cultural landscape. In conclusion, Brian has an estimated net worth of $100 million, which he accumulated from his career, endorsements, and other business ventures. And with that, thanks for watching, share, and please subscribe for more videos.